Alrighty. Because there's so much to go through, what I've done is I have made it so that I can give you a copy of this once I finish. But if I can go through it as procedure, and that way I'll read what it says. It says, Senior Detective David Farley, I would like to confirm an audience with you that crime of a federal magistrate does exist, and confirming your knowledge of what you know so far to piece together the evidence, and by the end of this audience that you have confirmed with me, based on the evidence, that crime does exist. Firstly, I'm going to show you things by way of exhibit, and that way you can see what would happen in the courtroom. Exhibit A is the oath of office of a federal magistrate. So now you'll notice that a federal magistrate doesn't actually have to swear to the Queen, to the sovereign. Everyone else's oath in Australia are different to a federal magistrate for some reason. You also would be aware that a federal magistrate, before she sits, that the clerk of the court would have to swear the magistrate in for the day's proceedings.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Exhibit B is the proofs that a federal magistrate in a family court situation has to deal with all aspects of crime. This is what federal magistrates ignore, and by that excerpt there that I've given you.
Exhibit B.
Yeah. And I also have additional proofs to that as well, and that is
so this first one's a Magistrates Act, that's not the Federal Magistrates Act?
That's the Federal Magistrates.
So they're both from the same Act?
Yep. If we... No, this is Federal Magistrates Court. A federal magistrate, as required, there's the Federal Magistrates.
Yeah. As the case requires, and that will do right to all manner of people according to law without fear of favour, affection, or will so help me God. So that's just it.
Yep.
But this says Magistrates Act, Section 20.
Yep.
This one says Section 18, Federal Magistrates Act. That's what I'm asking. Are they two different acts?
Two different acts, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
So the first one's MAG Act, and the next one's Federal Magistrates Act.
Yep.
Section 20. Yep.
Sorry.
You're right.
And then what's that one?
Section 18
Yep.
To the extent that the Constitution permits, jurisdiction is conferred on the Federal Magistrates Court in respect of matters not otherwise within its jurisdiction that are associated with matters in which the jurisdiction of the Federal Magistrates Court is invoked.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and these type of things are not written on PDF form and are on the internet, but I will give you the excerpt out of the book where there's the Australian Family Law Act 1997 with rules and regulations. Chapter 15, Evidence and Summary, it states that within that evidence summary that they have to deal with children, affidavits, subpoenas, assessors, expert witnesses, and within the summary it clearly states that they also have to deal with the Evidence Act of 1995 and also the Crimes Act of 1914. It also states that if there is fraud, I'm alleged, this is my interpretation, but whilst there is fraud on the court, that no orders can be written in relation to property. Now, I believe my daughter is also property. Where on application by a person affected by an order.
So what section is that?
I'm sorry.
Under section 7?
Yep, there's chapter 15.
Yep.
This is Exhibit B. Chapter 15, Evidence and Summary of Chapter 15.
And that's of the Family Law Court Act?
Yep, the Family Law Act of 1975. And it states that they have to deal with the Evidence Act of 1995.
Yep.
And also Section 35 of the crime, that they specifically write one of the crime of 1914, Crimes Act, which is Commonwealth, a person may be prosecuted for knowingly making a false statement in evidence.
Yep.
So this is where the Federal Magistrates Court ignore crimes and then they pretend that it's up to police to deal with matters.
Okay, I'm just going to...
I apologise.
On this one here, knowingly, a person may be prosecuted for knowingly making a false statement in evidence. So the Evidence Act also states that a person may be prosecuted. It's not saying who has to prosecute, it's just saying a person may be prosecuted.
No, but the previous one actually states that it's up to a federal magistrate to deal with all matters.
Okay, so I'm just getting your interpretation of it.
Yep.
Is that a federal magistrate, if someone is before a family law court and they knowingly make a false statement, that family law court magistrate should be able to deal with that there.
Has to by law, yes. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Well, that's just my summary of it.
That's fine.
I will give you a copy shortly. There it is there. I'm sorry, Dave.
No, you're
but
right.
I'll get you the photocopy.
No, you're right.
Yep. Now, Exhibit C is the excerpt of a court order written by Federal Magistrate DMAC, and I believe that you've already seen this one.
Okay.
Now, she speaks that, she tries to pretend that she is not going to give a clue what these crimes are, but if you note, she states that it's actions and crimes committed by herself or other people within the courtroom, and that it is not up to her to determine, and it's not for her to, basically she doesn't want anyone to speak of them in the courtroom.
But yeah, that's it from her judgment.
Yes, it is.
She's saying from reading this here, my interpretation of that, the magistrate is saying she's thinking that you're inferring that you might want her to withdraw from the case.
Oh, no. I actually specifically
yes,
wrote...
but she is saying that she's inferred that you may want to, but you haven't asked her to.
I had on affidavit, and I can show you that on affidavit that I had put all the criminal charges that I believed she was in, and the thing is irrespective of that, she has a duty under her oath to ensure that all crimes and all fraud on the court is removed prior to making a court order. If she is going to ignore that there is criminal actions being done by persons within the courtroom, and then ignoring that, well then that act could harm a child, that act could harm and has harmed, and you have evidence that it has harmed myself through the medical person that you have spoken with. Exhibit C isn't... Oh, sorry, I've gone through that. Yep. Notwithstanding that the Federal Magistrate is under oath when writing that court order. Exhibit D is here. Exhibit D is a recording of Mike Emerson speaking with myself, and Mike Emerson was admitting that approximately... Mike Emerson, E-M-E-R-S-O-N, from Mike Emerson Lawyers, Emerson Lawyers, I believe it is, admitting that he remembers after approximately 7 days of the court hearing that he confirms I arrested Federal Magistrate DMAC. He also, in the start of the conversation, did state, he agreed that court transcripts should have been produced, and then when I stated that they weren't, and that again court orders were altered, he could not remember anything that happened in that court other than that I had arrested the Federal Magistrate. He also advised me that he would respond in writing to myself, or at least somehow, and it's now been over a year and a half, and he still has not responded to me whatsoever. Okay. So that is exhibit, you might want to write on that, D.
Yeah, we need a special pen for that.
That's okay.
We'll find it.
Yeah. Exhibit E, there is evidence that the Federal Magistrate did not attend the police station when I ordered her to comply with myself to attend a police station. Otherwise, there would be a record of that action. So, within your own police record, you would know that Federal Magistrate DMAC has never been brought down to a police station.
Okay, that's, I'm going to be technical here, but that's a state police station.
Yep.
Yeah, so she's never, to my knowledge, she's never attended a state police
That's
station.
correct, yes.
I can't categorically say she hasn't attended a federal police station.
Yep, that's fine. Exhibit F, the lawful arrest of a person committing a crime within a federal building or within an act comes under the Crimes Act of 1914, Section 3Z. I was charging, as I'd done so, for criminal indictable offences of the Federal Magistrate. I needed police to ask questions of the person, being Federal Magistrate DMAC, in relation to her honest indictment. I have not been able to have a police officer asking questions of Federal Magistrate DMAC where I did a lawful arrest under that section. There is the act in which I performed the duty of that arrest. So it didn't matter if it was before or after I did that.
Okay, my question to you here is, it says, the first part says a person may arrest another person he or she believes on reasonable grounds that the other person is committing or has just committed an indictable offence, and proceedings by summons against the other person would not achieve one or more of the purposes referred to in paragraph 3W1B. Do you know what 3W1B is?
I don't have it here, but I have read it.
You have looked at that?
Yes, I have.
And that's the only thing, because my first question there would be, I'd go and want to see what 3W1B is.
Yep, no, that's fine.
Look,
if I did an unlawful arrest, I would have had my ass chucked in jail by that magistrate.
Well, which magistrate?
Federal Magistrate DMAC.
She'd have your ass chucked in jail?
For sure.
Yep, okay, that's F.
She would have got me on contempt of court. Exhibit G, here is the police officer's oath of office. However, I understand that this act came in probably before you came into office. However, it should be similar. Did you come in before 1990?
Yes.
Well then, is that the same oath as you would have taken to the Queen?
I don't remember.